Imagine a world where the basic cost of living, rent, food, transit, is paid to you every month, no strings attached. No interviews, no forms, no stigma, just a steady cash pulse in your bank account. Sounds like freedom, but also like a revolution. What if that revolution arrived the same year dozens of jobs disappeared to automation? What if the choice facing nations is not, can we afford UBI, but can we afford not to? This video is not a policy lecture. It's an economic trial by fire. We'll trace UBI's history, test the arguments for and against, weigh real-world experiments using hard numbers, and ask the brutal question, will universal basic income actually work? Part 1. What is UBI and why the world talks about it now? Universal Basic Income, UBI. Simple definition, an unconditional recurring cash payment to every citizen or resident, intended to cover a baseline of living costs. No means tests, no job requirements, no strings. Short, radical, and simple enough to terrify politicians. Not a new dream. Traces reach back centuries, early ideas in utopian writings, conditional cash proposals in progressive eras, and serious macro proposals in the 20th century. But the momentum today is different. Three simultaneous forces are driving urgency: automation and AI. Major studies show that a large share of tasks across occupations could be automated, forcing a structural rethink of labor markets. McKinsey's analysis, widely cited, reports that a significant portion of work activities could be automated by 2030, implying massive workplace transformation and large reskilling needs. Wage stagnation and precarious work. Gig platforms plus globalization have produced large cohorts of workers with inconsistent incomes and thin safety nets. Cash can be a blunt and immediate stabilizer. Political pressure and pilot evidence, small but high-profile experiments, from Alaska to Finland to Stockton, have injected real data into what was once only moral philosophy. We'll unpack the numbers and the surprises next. Part 2. The Promise. Arguments for UBI with data and cases. 1. Poverty eradication and improved health. A guaranteed cash floor directly reduces material hardship. The Alaska Permanent Fund, a perennial nascent UBI cousin, pays residents an annual dividend drawn from state oil wealth. In 2024, the dividend paid $1,702 per eligible Alaskan, small relative to full livelihoods. But the Alaska model shows how predictable unconditional cash can stabilize households and reduce poverty spikes. 2. Mental health and well-being gains. Documented. Trials show consistent mental health benefits. Finland's 2-year basic income experiment, 2,000 unemployed people receiving a monthly €560, did not increase employment significantly, but it produced measurable improvements in well-being, perceived economic security, and reduced bureaucracy. In short, recipients felt calmer and more capable of planning life, even if employment effects were muted. 3. Stabilizing income volatility and enabling risk-taking. The Stockton Economic Empowerment Demonstration, SEED, $500 per month to randomly selected residents, found reduced income volatility, improved mental health, and evidence that recipients could pursue work with better hours or training. SEED participants made bolder career moves because the cash floor removed survival anxieties that block risk-taking. That's the argument for entrepreneurship as a public return on investment. 4. A buffer against automation. If automation displaces tasks at scale, as many analyses suggest, a universal cash floor acts as macro stabilization while societies retrain and reorganize. It buys time for public reskilling programs, helps maintain consumption demand, and reduces the political shock of sudden unemployment. McKinsey's projections about automation underscore the scale of transition, not an immediate inevitability, but a plausible multi-decade shock that demands policy tools. Part 3. The Perils. Arguments against UBI with numbers. 1. The cost and the fiscal realism test. UBI at scale is expensive. Simple back-of-envelope math. Pay $10,000 per year to every adult in a large country, and you're looking at trillions of dollars annually. Historic analyses warn a $10,000 per adult plan can exceed $3 trillion in the U.S. context, a number that rivals or overwhelms current federal spending lines. That's not theoretical. Any serious UBI plan forces massive tax redesign or the repurposing of existing welfare budgets. 2. Inflation risk, a common critique. Give everyone more cash and prices will rise, eroding real purchasing power. The theoretical link between cash transfers and inflation depends on whether supply can respond. Empirical and theoretical studies, including several academic reviews, show mixed results. Small targeted cash transfers rarely spark generalized inflation when supply is elastic. Large permanent universal transfers risk demand push inflation and if the economy cannot increase output proportionally. The inflation channel is complex and context-dependent, but it's a real macro risk that must be modeled before rollouts. 3. Moral hazard and labor supply concerns. Will unconditional cash cause people to stop working? Evidence from trials is nuanced. Many pilots show little to no large-scale reduction in employment, but these pilots often operated at small scale and short duration. The worry remains. A high enough UBI that materially replaces wages could reduce labor supply in certain sectors, worsening labor shortages, especially for lower-paid, less flexible jobs. The behavioral response is uncertain and depends on benefit size, labor market tightness, and social norms. 4. Political economy. Who pays? If taxes must triple or new wealth levies be imposed on capital, political resistance is fierce. Financing mechanisms, VATs, carbon taxes, wealth taxes, or redirecting existing transfers, all have distributional consequences. Critics argue UBI could become a vehicle for dismantling targeted services, healthcare, housing assistance, that currently protect vulnerable groups better than a single cash check. Part 4. Pilots and lessons. What real experiments taught us. Finland, 2017 to 2018. Design, €560 per month to 2,000 unemployed people. Result, no statistically significant increase in employment, but improved well-being and administrative simplicity. The headline, UBI can improve quality of life but isn't a job guarantee by itself. Stockton, SEED, 2019 to 2021. Design, $500 per month for select low-income residents. Result, reduced income volatility, improved mental health, and some evidence of more stable, higher quality employment outcomes for recipients. Alaska Permanent Fund, ongoing. Design, annual dividend from oil revenues to residents. 2024 paid approximately $1,702. Result, local poverty reduction and stabilizing effects, but not a full safety net substitute for a comprehensive social policy. Alaska's program is a model of resource-based universal payment, not of a general-purpose national UBI. Part 5. Why scale changes everything. A warning. Pilots are quietly generous. They operate with limited budgets and short horizons. Scaling UBI to national levels is another order of magnitude. What works at $500 per month for a city of 1,000 could be unaffordable, or inflationary, at $1,000 per year nationwide. That means policy design must consider phased approaches, targeted guaranteed income, negative income tax hybrids, or partial UBI paired with robust public services. It also means financing and macro stabilization. Tax design, supply-side investments, are not optional. They determine whether we build a safety net or trigger price spirals. Final verdict. Will UBI actually work? Short answer, yes. But only if designed as policy tool, not as political promise. UBI can work as a targeted stabilization instrument, a bridge financing mechanism during large structural transitions, automation waves, a dividend from public assets that returns shared wealth to citizens. UBI is unlikely to succeed if deployed immediately at scale without credible, sustainable financing. Used as a substitute for essential public services, healthcare, housing, education. Paired with regressive taxes that undo the intended redistribution. The pragmatic path. Phased pilots. Finance mixes. Wrap UBI with strong supply-side investments. Build automatic stabilizers to adjust benefits with inflation and labor conditions. When done carefully, UBI reduces poverty, improves mental health, and stabilizes consumption. But it is not a silver bullet. It is an institutional tool that must be embedded in a broader policy architecture: training, housing, healthcare, and macro management. Like, share, and subscribe. And tell us, would you take the check?